Hey there, what's up? Black women on Broadway. Samantha, our interpreter there. Thank you so much. Hey there, what's up? Black women on Broadway. Samantha, our interpreter there. Thank you so much. Here we go. Hey there, what's up? Black women on Broadway. I'm hearing myself giving a little feedback, so I just want to make sure you guys are not hearing that, and then we'll get started. I'm hearing myself giving a little feedback, so I just want to make sure you guys are not hearing that, and then we'll get started. I'm hearing myself. One second. Let's see if there's anything that I need to do in order to eliminate that. Let's see. That helps. I've been streaming the event all day, so I had it playing in the background. What's up, Black women, men, whoever is here who has a desire to learn how to take your self-tape game to the next level? Thank you for your time, your patience, and your focus. Thank you to Danielle. Thank you to Jocelyn. Thank you to Amber Iman for your time and energy in putting this together. And thank you for opening up a platform for me, Lelund Durond from Lelund Durond Studios. I'm super excited to get started. So we are talking about what it takes to take your self-tape game to the next level. I'll talk about it from a technical standpoint, and then I'll talk about the acting element of a self-tape. And then we'll open it up for some questions. So what do I need to make a great self-tape? First of all, what is a self-tape? A self-tape is, it's an audition tape that you basically are sent away to make on your own in order to book a job. And we're in a day where, especially since we're in COVID and the pandemic situation, where casting directors are not bringing people in, it's important to know how to make a great self-tape. A self-tape that will stand out and will book you the job, most importantly. And so how do we do that? First, the technical elements. You need great lighting. Great lighting for a great self-tape, because we need to see what you're doing. How can I get great lighting? We have three options. We have a 3-light kit set up. Let's talk about a 3-light kit setup. If you have paper, pencil, pen, write this down. 3-light kit setup has a key light, which is your main light source, which is always going to be set up the closest to you, right? Then you're going to have what is called a fill light. The fill light is a light that's a little further away that is usually picking up the other side of your face. So if I have my key light here, it's not going to be this close. So I'm just kind of giving you an example. It won't be this close, but I have my key light here. I have my fill light a little further away on the opposite side of my face. And then I have my hair light. I don't have any hair, but I have my hair light above me. Then I'm lit as if I'm in a film. Light is coming from all around. How can I get a 3-light kit? Super simple. You can order one on Amazon. You can look it up depending on your budget. There are going to be a number of different kits that you can buy. The lighting is soft. You're looking for soft light. You don't want really to have hard light on you. And you'll need the stands for those. The stands will come in the 3-light kit. So just Google 3-light kit. Go to Amazon, go to B&H if you're in New York, go to your local camera store, camera local lighting store. You can ask anyone about a 3-light kit setup. That will give you a film look, right? Okay, so then we'll go to a ring light. A ring light is a light that is just like it sounds. It's a circle that allows you to set your camera usually in the center of that circle so that there's a light all around your face so that the light is even. A ring light usually provides like a beauty light. It's like a glow. It helps to lift the skin. And usually the light from that is balanced. It doesn't necessarily cover your whole backdrop, but as long as we can see your face, which is most important, I think that we're good there. So a ring light can also be purchased on Amazon. It can be picked up at B&H. Adorama. These are all like camera, audio, and lighting stores that I'm listing. Or if you don't want to leave home because we're in the middle of a pandemic, you can order it on Amazon. A good old ring light on Amazon might cost you 79, 89, 100 and something bucks. You don't need to spend a whole lot, okay? All right, all right. So lighting, we also have natural light. Natural light is great if you have a space in your home, in your small room, or you have big open windows, setting your backdrop up, not too far away from a window will give you really, I feel, some of the best light. A lot of times you can't beat natural light, especially if you're getting enough of it in your space. A lot of time that light is gonna be pretty even. So yeah, so my 3 suggestions for lighting setups: a 3-light kit, which is gonna give you lighting that looks like a film from above and the sides. One is gonna be closer than the other because it's the key light, it's that main light. The other one is gonna be fill light, just filling in the shadows on the other side of the face. And then the light from above that's gonna just help that hair stand out and separate you from your backdrop. Awesome, hope that's clear. So one more time. Oh, and natural light, which is just from the window. Yes, natural light is wonderful, Kendra. Okay, great. So let's talk about the camera, because you need a camera to shoot the self-tape. If you're not going to a studio where they'll probably already have some fancy DSLR or cinematic camera, because it's a professional studio, if you don't have that, you can use your phone. You can use a nice camcorder that might shoot 4K that you're not spending a ton for. Most casting offices use small camcorders because it's easy to take the footage off of them. The files are usually not that large. So nice small camcorder. Your phone is always great. You'll need to get a bracket, something to hold the phone in so that it's steady, because you don't want it to move. You don't want to have your friend reading and trying to hold the camera for you, because it will be a distraction from your audition. Yeah, and also if you go to your settings in your phone and you go to, I have my iPhone. iPhones are great for self-tape video. You go to your phone, you want to go to camera on your phone in the settings, to camera, and you can explore going to 1080p, it's high definition, and then at 30 frames per second or 24 frames per second will give you great video quality, right? 24 frames per second. I don't know if you guys can see that. 4K at 24 frames per second is a great frame rate to shoot your videos on, your audition videos. So I went to settings, camera, and I changed the frame rate or speed to 1080p at 24 frames per second. Yeah, so the phone is good. Let's talk about sound, which is extremely important, because you can act, you can be seen, but if we can't hear you, you're not gonna book the job. And how do we get great sound? If the phone that you're shooting on, if you're using a phone, is close enough, usually that will do, right? But let's take that a step further. A lapel mic, you can get a lapel mic that will actually work with the iPhone. You can purchase a professional lapel mic that might cost you a little bit more, that you use an outside recording source for it, which means you'll have to take the file from a smaller recorder that you're using to plug your more boom situation mic into, or lav into, and, well, this can go actually right into the camera. This is more of a boom mic that can go into a DCLR. It cannot go into a phone. You would need a separate device if you were using something like this, or really professional lapel mic, right? Great, but this will go right into your DSLR camera. This is a Canon, Oh, let me get in the frame. 5D Mark II that I use sometimes. It makes great self-tapes. And I use this boom mic that I set right above my head and out of the frame to pick up the sound. With my phone, I usually just use either the mic, the sound coming from the phone, or I'll have a separate source for sound, which is usually a small recorder that I'll plug a recording device into, but then I have to sync that file later, which can be challenging. So I would recommend finding something that you don't have to take that extra step. You don't have to be the editor when it comes to sound and sync the sound. You just have it coming right from the camera, because I've hooked my professional directional mic or boom mic right into the camera. A directional mic also can sit right on top of the camera. A good one that I like to use is called Rode, R-O-D-E, a Rode mic. It can be ordered online. It's gonna be great. I think if you have even if you don't have a full frame camera, but it's still a nice, it's a real camera, whether you're shooting video or photos with it, you can set a directional mic on top of that and it will sync the sound for you. Great. Okay, that's a little bit about sound. And we can ask questions about all of this at the end. Okay, let's talk about the backdrop a bit. Backdrop should be gray or blue. I strongly suggest gray or blue because these colors help you pop, help you stand out. They complement the skin tone very, very well. It's what you'll find in most casting offices. Where can I get a backdrop? Okay, you can take what you got and make what you want. You can paint your wall either blue or gray, or you can order on Amazon or go to a local camera or video or photography store and order a backdrop, right? Savage, this company here, is who I use. And so you can Google them online, Savage, or go in the store and ask for a Savage seamless paper or backdrop paper, which is what's right behind me. This is a gray that I have behind me. And the colors that I like to use, you'll see like Savage has so many different colors, right? What color should I choose? I would go to the gray section. They have a smoke gray, which is darker. Here they have a slate gray, which is good. I would not go the charcoal gray. Do not go the charcoal gray. Focus gray is good. So slate gray, focus gray. They have a TV gray. Or fashion gray. Fashion gray is really good. Fashion gray is also really good for photo shoots. I like to use fashion gray a lot. If you go to Lelund Durond Studios and you see my photos, a lot of my headshots are shot on fashion gray. And I love people of color to show up on a little fashion gray. So, boom. And as far as the blues go, sky blue is good. Sky blue is good. Even this blue jean can be good down here, or ocean blue. Let's see, or studio blue. I think that's a great blue. Awesome. Okay, great. Let's talk about for a moment where we're going into this tech stuff, and I'm telling you to set it up, but I want to go back and say, I think as actors, it's extremely important for us to have a space to go to self-tape, because we're getting the self-tapes at the last minute most of the time. Sometimes you have a day to turn it all around, sometimes 2 days if you're lucky to turn it all around, but usually you don't have much time. So you want to put yourself in a situation where it's not super stressful, right? And if you already have your setup at home, if you already have your lighting set up, you already have your backdrop up, all you have to do is work on the text. You're also gonna have to know who your reader is, who's reading. You're gonna have to be a good, nice person to get a friend to come over that you can tag team and read with. Because your reader is extremely important too. But having a space that you can go to in your home, I feel, is key. I think it's important that we as actors also practice on a daily, just like a professional basketball player, football player, figure skater, a gymnast is going to practice. We have to practice. And where do we go to practice? I think if we have a self-tape set up in our home, we can go there and we can grow. We can get better. That's how you book the job, right? Practice makes perfect. Let's talk about what you wear. What you wear. I would avoid wearing the same color as my backdrop. I would also avoid wearing anything that's going to be distracting. What do I mean by distracting? Anything that doesn't add to the character that you're playing, the role that you're going in for, I would consider to be a distraction. A lot of the time in television and film, I think it's great if you make the picture as clear as possible for me, right? The picture in the frame as clear as possible. How do you make the picture in the frame as clear as possible? Through your wardrobe, wear something. If I'm going in for a nurse, maybe I should already have in my closet, maybe I should already have a top that a nurse would wear, or scrubs like a doctor would wear. Maybe I invest in that. I invest in myself as an actor. In my closet, I feel like it's great for actors to have the wardrobe for various archetypes. If I know I'm going in to play a lawyer, I need to have my blazer, my 1 or 2 blazers that I know look good on me in my closet, already pressed and ready to go, because that's something I don't want to worry about on the day of the audition. If I'm going in to play a mother, what are the tops that look best on me? If I'm going in to play a teenager, what's that shirt that looks cool on me? So think about the archetype and all of the different roles that you've been in before, you've been considered for. You can ask friends, what are roles that you think I might be great for? And just have those looks already set aside so that you're not scrambling within the 24 hours to memorize lines, do the whole setup at home, or find a studio to go shoot in. Yeah, so invest in yourself by stocking your wardrobe, having your costume changes already on hand. And then if you get something that you don't have a look for already, then hey, you get it this time and you have it for the next, right? Amazing. Okay, let's talk about the reader. The reader. When doing a self-tape, you have to have someone else reading the lines with you. That person should not be in the frame. That person should be standing beside the camera, and that person should also, to the left or right, and that person should also be speaking at a lower volume than you, right? So if you have that directional mic, a microphone that's sitting right on top of your recording device, pointing and looking at you, already you're doing yourself a favor, because with that microphone, because it's gonna pick you up the loudest, because it's looking directional, it's like towards you, it's focused on you. But you could still ask the reader to mind their volume, right? That reader should also be supporting you and not trying to outact you. You know, it's your scene, right? Let's see, great. And that reader, it would be great also if they were willing to operate the camera for you if you're recording from home. So maybe if you found a friend and you guys know how to operate the cameras that you use because you help each other do your self-tapes, great. Master that so that it doesn't get in the way on the day, right? Already have your levels set. Like before you get an audition and you're creating a new setup for yourself, go and just check the levels and take notes like, oh, this is the level that I was recording on. These were this is where I had the ring light turned to this. It was this warm, or it was this cool, or I placed it here. Once you get the perfect setup, take a picture of it, spike it on the ground so that you know what it is. You know what that look is for you so that it's consistent, right? Awesome. Let's see. So I talked a little bit about sound. I talked a little bit about lighting, about the camera, about your backdrop, wardrobe. Let's talk about eyelines for self-tape. Eyelines are extremely important because it's just you in the frame. And so the information that we're getting from your eyes, your facial expressions, your sound, that's how we know what's going on. That's how we know what's on the other side of the lens, right? That's how we know who you're connecting to. If there are more than if there's more than one person in the frame or in the scene, I'm sorry, I would place those people on opposite sides of the camera, right? Opposite sides of the camera. Say my camera is right here. I'm looking into the camera. I want to go here or here, right? Here or here, looking or connecting with my reader. And also it's helpful to, like, if my reader is here, I want to turn my body a little away and then turn back with the head a little bit because it opens my face up to the camera. We also want to stay between I would say 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. So 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock, we don't want to put characters outside of the frame because then you lose my eyes, right? Bam, you're not connecting to anything and the eyes are the way in. So let's say 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock, place everybody within 1 o'clock and 11 o'clock. If you have 3 different people in the scene, maybe you put 1 on the right side of the camera, 2 on the left side of the camera, but you don't have to make it such a drastic move, make it subtle. Here I'm looking at, I'm not doing a very good job there. I would say here I'm looking at one person and here I'm looking at another person. Or on the other side of the camera, I go to my other person. And this is something that you should practice before you have the self-tape. Before you have the self-tape, Eyelines is something that you should just get used to. Even if you have to, in your space, in your studio, and make it part of your rehearsal, your practice time, it's like, okay, today I have a scene where I am talking to 4 different people. Oh my God, this is stressful, right? I don't want to have to do this on the day and I only have 1 reader. So where am I going to put these other people? Create, even if you have to cut pictures out of magazines and place people on the wall, practice your eyeline stuff so that you're not doing it on the day. A figure skater would never go and try to do a triple sow cow on the day, right? So actors, we cannot wait to practice our eye lines on the day because the eyes are the way in, right? Awesome, 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 awesome. Okay, that's a little bit about eye lines, and then we can touch base on some more regarding eye lines if you have questions. Great. Let's talk about the acting. What I do when I get an audition from my agent. A lot of the time you're going to get a breakdown that will describe the character. And sometimes if you're lucky, you'll get some notes from casting giving specific things. But a lot of the time you don't get much. So it's up to you, the actor, to make strong choices based on the information that you've been given, right? The information that you've been given in the scenes, whether it's 1 scene or 2 scenes. First thing you want to do is read the scenes, right? And when I say read them, really read them. Sometimes we skim scripts, sometimes we read but we don't really process. And therefore there's opportunity left to miss beats and miss moments, right? So I get my script and I want to analyze the script, right? I analyze the script. What does analyzing the script look like? Everyone's process is different. These are a few things that I feel are important in the process of analyzing a script. 1, where does your script start? What is the emotional value at the beginning of the scene and at the end of the scene, right? Is it positive or negative? Am I in a good place? Am I winning today? And then by the end of the scene, like, I've lost all my money. I went gambling and I'm broke and things are not going well. Did I enter the scene like with the promise of marriage and now I found out my wife wants a divorce? Where does the scene, how does the value of the scene change from the beginning to the end? You need to identify that. If it doesn't change, it seems like it's a non-event, like nothing has happened, right? So we want to see, where are you at the beginning and where are you at the end? You can mark those values with a plus or a negative, right? Positive or negative value. Scenes normally go from positive to negative, or negative to positive, negative to double negative, or positive to double positive. That's just informative information that helps me know, okay, all right, I know I'm in a better place at the end of this. Great. Now, what happens from moment to moment it's important to write down what happens. Oh, she walks in, the script might say she walks in, she sits her purse down on the table, and she hears a strange noise. I'm totally making this script up. She hears a strange noise before the other character even speaks. But what happens many times is actors will either start their self-tape ready to go, looking at the reader like, what? But they haven't even taken in the moment before or invested in the moment before. It's important, extremely important, that you invest in the moment before. And what does that look like? It means taking in, where was I right before my first line, right? What was I doing? How was I feeling? And go through that. And if the script isn't giving you much, then you create it, right? It's better to start a scene from a more specific place of truth and honesty at the very top versus a general, I'm ready to act and perform, right? So if she walked into her apartment and she set her purse down and then she heard a strange noise, she's listening for that noise before the reader talks. So you don't have my eyes in the camera yet, right? Because I'm like, what the hell was that? And then the reader's like, hey, and then you're like, oh, what's up? How you doing? Right? So even that amount of clarity, I think, is going to set you up for a win, right? It's going to set you up to play moment to moment. But if you've missed the first moment or failed to get specific about the first moment, then you're not off to a good start. And I'm probably, as a casting person, not gonna watch very much of that tape because somebody made the choice to be specific on the last 5 takes that I saw. And I have like several hundred more to watch. So, right. Okay, so the moment before is extremely important. I like to say to actors, where's your breath in the moment before? It also reminds us to breathe. Like, we don't know what's about to happen. We just know the first moment is happening. And then every time we try to go on the journey and react in the moment, right? So don't play the end of the scene, right? Playing the end of the scene will not get you the job. Great, okay. Invest your work in the other. When I say invest in the other, I'm saying your scene partners, right? The person that you're trying to get your objective from, your objective, that thing that you want, that thing you've identified during your analysis, right? Work, reading the scene and say, okay, what am I here for? What am I listening for? Am I waiting for an apology? Am I waiting for her to give me the money? Am I waiting for directions? Am I trying to get my cell phone back that somebody stole? You know, why am I in the scene? That's extremely important to identify, right? That's part of your analysis. What is my objective? And as you work moment to moment towards that objective in the analysis process, because acting is doing, we do things all day in order to get what we want, right? You have to identify those things in the script. How do you get that objective? Through actions. A great source for figuring out what actions might work best for you is the Actor's Thesaurus. This is a great book that has action verbs in it that will help you get specific about what it is that you're doing from moment to moment versus just saying lines, right? Sometimes we as actors get lazy and sometimes if you're a really good actor, you've been doing it for a while, you know that feeling when you're locked into doing, right? But sometimes it's still to step back and analyze it, see it on the page, even if it changes in the moment, right? Just to make sure that everything you're doing, each action you're taking is supporting you getting what you want. Like if I'm in a scene with somebody and I want an apology, or I want them to really hear what I have to say, I need them to hear, I'm not going to make a choice where I am destroying them. I am belittling you. I am belittling you because you get on my nerves, you know? I might not put that person down if I want them to stay. That might be the text. You're really getting on my nerves, right? As a warning, like, I want you to hear what I have to say, but you're really getting on my nerves, right? I'm going to choose an action to warn versus to belittle because I want that person to stay in the scene with me, right? So making informed choices about the actions that you play to help you get what you want is a part of the analysis work that you need to do as an actor. And again, the actor's thesaurus, which can be ordered on Amazon, or it's also an app. You can download it on, I know Apple devices, you can download this book. It's a great source for actors. Know what you are doing. Yes, it's a great book. Let's see. You also need to be able to identify the turning point in a scene. It's important that you really understand a scene before you do it, because if you haven't hit the turning point or you haven't nailed the purpose for the scene, the event of the scene, like why is this scene being written? Why is casting or the director sending me this scene to do? They need to know that you understand that scene and what's happening, or they can't cast you, because a lot of time in television and film, there's no time to really coach, direct, other than to just give you blocking. Like people want actors who have done the work and understand, and it's clear that they understand from their self-tape, so that they can get on set where money is and time is precious. You know, they want to know that you know what you're doing, that you know your purpose there. So being able to identify the event of the scene or the turning point or the purpose of the scene and really nailing that moment or beat is key to having a great self-tape. Awesome. Okay, so I talked a bit about the moment before. I talked a bit about noting the closing and opening values of a scene. I talked about an objective, what you want. I know many actors know this, but I'm thinking that I'm talking to a variety of actors who may be on various levels. So that's why I'm kind of going back to some of the basics too. Let's talk about moment to moment. I have put many of people on tape over the years. And what I have noticed a lot is that people fail sometimes to invest all their actions in the other person, right? So what does it mean to invest in the other? It means to make sure the action or what you're doing is landing on that person, right? That it reaches them, right? So if my line is, I want to marry you because you are everything to me. I want to marry you because you're everything to me, right? I can say that line, and if my objective is to pull this person in, I'm probably not going to say it over here. I'm probably going to look at it and make it count, right? I'm going to invest my line in the other. Some people just say, I want you to marry me. I just want you to marry me. You know, I want you to be my wife. You mean so much to me. And you can do this and not be connected to the other as long as you bring it back to the other. But if the action didn't help you get what you want by landing it on the other, then it doesn't work. It's not a strong choice. And I think if you watch TV and watch movies and look at the eyes of actors and look at where their focus is for the most part, you know, we got to stay right here. In scripts, writers aren't giving us, they're usually for film and television, getting in at the last minute and getting out as soon as they can. There's not a whole lot of lines and dialogue. So each line is like your ammunition to help you get what you want. So you got to make it count by choosing the right action, investing it, and making sure it lands on the other person. Like what I'm doing right now, I'm making sure this lands on you. I'm investing this in you. I'm not investing this in you right here. I'm not making sure it's landing on you and then being present to get your reaction, to know how I'm going to be affected by that. If I miss that moment, then I'm faking that moment, right? Because I didn't receive what the other gave. I wasn't present for it. I hope that's clear. Oh my gosh, I didn't realize time is flying. Time out. Okay. Coming. Let me just go down. Coming. Hang tight. Let's see. Text. Oh, I also wanted to talk a little bit. Let me go to the questions and I can actually explore adding some of this in with the questions. Okay. We'll go to questions. Ask away. I'm getting the note that we're ready for questions. So we'll ask away and then throw things in on the way. What's the best size ring light? The best size ring light, usually ring lights are usually about like 14 inches, I would say, all the way around 14, 15 inches. That's good. As long as it's enough to set your camera inside the middle of the ring light, it works. It works for me. Can you just use a ring? And can you just, yes, you can just use a ring light. Now with that ring light, I would say also explore getting you a piece of bounce board, like a piece of white cardboard that you can purchase at like Rite Aid, Walgreens, an art supply store, that what you can actually lay on like a music stand in front of you or a table in front of you that's underneath the face. So if I have the ring light coming at me, or I can place the ring light above me and make it mirror like the sun, right? I want the light to come down on me like the sun. If I'm not using my camera in the middle of it, right? This is another choice you have. You can raise the ring light, tilt it over like it's coming down like the sun, then place a piece of bounce board underneath you. Like, it's like almost like I can put my hands on that white board, right? And that is going to help fill in the shadows underneath if you want even light. Men, for the most part, don't have to do it unless we're trying to look super, super fly and just have just beauty light going all around us. But for women, I would say if you're using a ring light and you're not putting your camera in the center of the light, I would raise that light and tilt it over a bit, right? And then in front of me, I would place a piece of, I'm gonna go get this 1 second, it's right behind. And I'm back. It's just like a piece of white board, right? That's going to lay under your face. And you see how it's already filling in, giving me more light under here, right? Cool. If you have more questions, you could also feel free to lelandurondstudios@gmail.com. You could also send to me. If you live by yourself, what do you do about not having a reader for auditions? That's a great question. Okay, so if you don't have a reader present, you can do this. It's not, I don't always love it because it changes the performance a bit, right? But you can record your lines and play them back. You know, you can do that. It's not my favorite choice, but you can do that because it keeps us, I feel like, from moment to moment, having that real person there, just, I don't know, it helps with the honesty in the moment to moment. Yeah. Okay, I don't have camera setting tips for Android because I'm an iPhone guy, but you can, I'm sure, do the same thing because the Android cameras are just amazing. But I would say go into your camera settings and see if there's an option for 1080p or high res, 1080p or 4K at 24 frames per second or 30 frames per second. Oh, good. Would my focus be the same for self-tape scene, monologue, 16 bars? That's a really great question. Okay. I think for the 16 bars, if you know who you're singing to, I would not look down the barrel of the camera. I would also just place the imaginary other very close to the camera, to the right or the left side of the camera, whichever side of your face is most flattering. You know, I would do that. For a commercial, sometimes they want you to look right down the barrel of the camera. I want to talk about a slate right quick. This is taking me to slate stuff. For a slate, you look into the camera. A slate is like your calling card. You're saying your name, sometimes your height, sometimes your representation. Casting will send you Oh, always check out casting's notes. If casting gives you a note, take those notes. But if they don't give you a note, a slate saying your name, look into the camera and sell it, and make sure, and I would say look at it as a headshot. It's an opportunity to sell yourself, let's see. Great. Also, I would record several slates that I could potentially use for different auditions. Like maybe I give myself 4 or 5 different slate options that I just keep on my hard drive, on my external hard drive, right? And then I keep all my self-tapes that I do on my external hard drive, because self-tapes, you never know, your agent could call you and might need someone to see one of the tapes that you did in the past, and you want to make sure you just don't throw those away. You can also like track your progress by watching your growth and watching the tapes back and analyzing them to see what works and what doesn't work. Okay, another question. What are the best tips for the moment before, when you're going into the studio and don't have as much control over the reader? Okay, you always have control over the reader, because you can say to the reader, I'm just gonna need a moment. I'm just gonna need a moment. That's all. I'm gonna need a moment. Or we'll go. Or just give them whatever information you need them to have to help set you up the best. It's your audition. If you need to talk to the casting director and say, hey, I just need a moment. And the moment before, I don't feel has to be a major moment. I think it just has to lock you in. It's like you've worked this moment out at home, right? It can be as grand as I just ran from outside up 10 flights of stairs, walked into my apartment and closed the door, right? And so I've endowed that moment. I've worked that moment at home. I've made that moment personal for me. So I know what it means. I know when I take that breath and I say that moment before, I just close the door. And I'm listening, I'm waiting for the next moment, right? So I just created that moment at home and simplified it for the room. I hope that answers that question. Any more questions? Okay, no more questions popping up right now. Things that you can check on when watching your self-tape back. Be mindful of pacing. Your pacing. Does the scene need to move? Am I working too hard? That's a question that you should ask yourself. Let's see. Oh, let's talk about text and subtext. Text and subtext. How do you make a strong choice? By, I feel, clarifying the subtext and then asking yourself why you're saying what you're saying and making it personal, connecting it to your own life. That's how you make strong choices. So if my line is, if the writer wrote, this is amazing. This is amazing. I've wanted these forever. This is amazing. I've wanted these forever. That's the line. Now, my subtext could really mean, why am I saying that? Because I ask myself, why am I saying that? I'm saying that to like get her out of the way, because I'm over it. Like I'm done with her. My overall objective is to just get her out of the door. Oh, these are amazing. I've been wanting these forever. I just want you to go. Why am I saying that? I want her to leave. I want her to leave because she's getting on my nerves. I don't have much time to do the things. So you talk it out. And then you say, why am I saying she gets on my nerves? Because she's just annoying. And she knows that I want to be alone during this time. She knows this is my private time, right? So now I've asked myself, what am I saying in my own words beneath that text? Why am I saying it? Because she gets on my nerves. She knows this. She knows that I have a meeting. Okay, these are great. I've always wanted these. You know I got a meeting. You know you got to go. That's helping me get to that more specific choice. I hope that was clear. Great. Do we have any more questions or? Any more questions? Okay, so I talked about investing in the other. I want to talk about the importance of reading and making sure that you, in your analysis work, that you write down your moments, beat to beat, moment to moment. Do that work, write it out. What do I do first? Then what happens in the scene? Then what do? Then they respond this way. Then she walks out the door. Create a map for yourself. And be mindful when you watch your takes back that you're hitting all of the moments and not skipping moments. Make sure that you are looking to see that the other actions of the other person landed on you, that you were affected by them, right? And that you were breathing and then you chose an action in the moment and sent it right, invested it back into them, right? How different are the frames for live theater and TV film? Okay, regarding auditioning, how different are the frames? I would say we should frame ourselves for a television or film from like just above the head to like mid chest. Because a lot of casting directors or directors may be getting these auditions on their cell phone, we need to see what's happening in your face. We can get your body information from either the slate, the pan up and down. We can look at your height on your resume. We can look at, we can find that info, your weight on your resume. We can get all that information there. So keep the frame tight, especially for television and film. I say because the acting requires a little more energy for theater, I would explore a shot that's more of a medium shot. That's getting like just above the waist to a little bit over the top of the head, you know? You can come in a little closer than that, but that's where I would stay for a theater audition versus a television and film audition is going to be a lot tighter because we need to see what's happening with the eyes, right? Great. What are your thoughts about using a reader via phone or Zoom? I have been in situations where I have been the reader on phones or on Zooms, and people have booked jobs still. Is it my favorite way to go about it? No, because the sound is distorted. And you have to think about when you give a self-tape and you're competing against a lot of people. It's just like watching TV, right? Are you going to watch a television program that's staticky, that's fuzzy, that you can't really hear that well, or are you going to watch something that's in more high definition with great lighting and great sound? It's easier for me to take it in that way. If your reader sounds like a robot, that's a distraction for me. And I know, you got to be a fierce actor to keep my attention. My attention in that way. So I would always recommend like, hey, be a good person, find a friend who can show up for you. But if you're booked and you're working and you're busy, you can explain that. Say, hey, I didn't have an opportunity to connect with someone to read for me. I did it this way. You can talk to your agent about it or have them send a note to casting. But don't consistently send in tapes that are not excellent tapes, that don't look good, sound good, and have great acting. Because it's a lot of the time your opportunity to make an impression with a casting director. And there are not that many casting directors, you have some of the same ones casting the same projects. And when they become a fan, when they see that you've invested in your work on all levels, in the acting, in the setup, you've prepared, like they're more than likely to bring you in again, because it's like an audition for them too. It's like they're not gonna, and if they get 500-600 tapes, okay, let's give an example. A role pops up and it's a lot of the time casting directors are considering 500, 600, 700, 800 people, right? From headshots. Then agents, they request tapes from, I would say, about 75, 100 sometimes. Sometimes for a project, it can be less. Sometimes it can be 20, but usually only like 4 or 5 make it to the director. So if you want your tape to be one of those 4 or 5 tapes, you need to be on it. It needs to be a great tape. You need to have identify the event of the scene, what this scene is about and how it moves the story forward. You need to have made it personal. We need to see that you make strong choices, that is specific, that you know how to show up on camera. And how do you know how to show up on camera? By practicing, by having that space in your house that you get a monologue and you run that monologue down over and over. You record it. You say, oh, that's too much. I'm doing too much. I can do less there. Record it again, right? Play with the subtext. Play with behavior on camera. I'm a little nervous. What happens when I'm nervous? Write those physical actions down, right? So you can just pull them out, whenever you need them, whenever you're making your choices, right? Let's talk about props real quick. Props. If your character is drinking something or eating something, go ahead and do it on camera. For all the self-tapes I do, I definitely would rather see somebody, if they're drinking something in a moment, I'd rather see them actually take the drink versus that's taking me out of the moment on a self-tape. If you need to shake somebody else's hand, you don't extend that hand in the frame. You just do it right out of the frame, and we can see the impulse in the shoulder, right? We get that information, right? If you're wiping down a table, you can go ahead and wipe it down. You're cleaning up in a bar before you're setting things up. Like, give yourself a couple of props that, if they don't necessarily have to be in the frame, but they help tell the story, go ahead and set yourself up. And if you have that bounce board or a table under you, you can, and it's strong and stable, you can set your little props up there. So editing tips, once you have the scenes on tape, great. Once you have your scenes on tape, editing software, there is Final Cut Pro, which is what I use to edit. There's also software, programs that come like on a Mac, like their basic editing software on a Mac. And sometimes you can download apps on a phone. If you have Final Cut Pro, I would say put your slate, if the casting director doesn't request or specify, put it at the end. I would put the text at the front with your name, the role, the project. If they ask for more information, you can list that too. You can put your representation, because there's nothing worse than getting a tape and you don't know who it is. There's no slate, and your name is not up there. Then you can't be cast. It's more difficult, and we don't have that time, right? So yeah, I would put my name card at the beginning and at the end. A nice little, depending on the energy of the scene, you can get creative with the editing. You can do a fade into the scene, or you can let it jump right into that scene. It depends on the energy, right? Put your takes in there and export them so that they're not super large. Be mindful of like any file size suggestions that they give you from casting, and put your name put your name on the file name. Like, change the name of the file and put, if I'm auditioning for the character Jack, I'll put Lelund Jack audition or self-tape submission. That's how I label it. And that way it's easy for a casting person to forward it to a director, and they can say, oh, this is this person's tape. And just make it super easy. Super, super easy. Any more questions there? Let's see. How can I make, let's see. I know what I want to say now. I want to just talk to actors in general. We're in a space where right now, like, things are quite unpredictable, right? We don't know when theater is coming back, and we hope that television and film comes back soon. But what can we do in the meantime to keep ourselves, fresh and on top of it? And so I would say read scripts of plays, read scripts, read television scripts, watch tons of TV, and know that this whole thing, making it, is a process. Many of the self-tapes you send in will not book you the job, but there will be those that do book you the job because it's your job, right? So on this journey, just continue to remember that it's a process. And when you've made it, it's all done. It's just like baking a cake. When we put it in the oven, we bake it, we pull it out, everybody gets a slice, it's done. There's no more fun. So enjoy the moment, just like I'm asking you to be in the moment in the scene, be in the moment in life and our career as much as we can, and know that everything is working out as long as we keep that positive mindset, positive attitude. And what helps to keep a positive mindset and attitude around a self-tape is to set yourself up by practicing. Use this time to get to know yourself on camera, especially those actors who are transitioning from theater or Broadway to television, right? You need to understand that's a big question. How much is enough? How are you going to know how much is enough if you're not regularly putting yourself on tape? Don't just wait till you get the self-tape. Send your own self a self-tape. If you don't have the scenes, ask friends if they have a scene that they could send you because you're just trying to work. Start a small group. where actors are putting themselves on tapes together. Absolutely. Analyzing the scenes together, work on those skills, because in television and film, most of the time you're having to self-direct. It's not like you're getting that 4-week process that you get in theater, right? They want to know that they have smart actors that understand the writing, know how to get into the writing and dissect and analyze, and can potentially show me something that I didn't even know was on the page, right? So that's what we're looking for. That's how you make a great self-tape. Great lighting, great sound, a great backdrop, great wardrobe specific to the character and not distracting. The lighting can be 3-key light, natural light, a ring light. What else? Let's see. Sound should be really, really good. The reader should not be louder than you. You can get a directional mic, you can get a lapel mic, and you don't have to go pay $500, $600 for Sennheiser lapel mics. If you go to an audio store, find something that's $100 and something bucks, that you're going to take care of, but you've invested in, because once you do book that job, you're going to make that money right back, right? And then you have it for all of your other tapes. If you need backgrounds, if you're not painting your wall, either blue or gray, go to B&H Photography, go to Adorama, go on Amazon and order you a gray or a blue backdrop with a backdrop stand. Or if you're not in a position where you can buy the backdrop stand, you can cut this paper and put Velcro on the back of it and, create just a little section that you would need in a room. I know, especially for those actors who are in New York, we don't have a ton of space, but we take what we got and make what you want. And that's what I'm suggesting that you do in this situation. Is if you don't have the room to put up a whole stand, then keep it simple. Get the paper, cut you a piece of it, put some Velcro or tape on the wall, tape it up there. Use your iPhone, that's super cheap. Invest in a bracket to hold the iPhone and a stand so that it's steady, and invest in some good lighting. And maybe if you start with a ring light, then maybe you can bump up to the 3-key light setup later on after you book that first job. Keep your acting honest, informed by the given circumstances. Clarify the subtext and continue to go deeper. A lot of people ask me, what is too much on camera? Too much is when it's general. When you get specific about something, when you know what you're saying and you know what it is that you're going for, it's a lot easier for you to stay connected to that other, stay present, stay still, right? Because every bit of movement is giving us information, right? And you want to be intentional about what information you've given. And once you've done the prep, once you've analyzed, ask yourself why, and why some more, then you just trust and you play in the moment. Thank you guys so much. It's been great. Thank you, Danielle. Thank you, Amber. Thank you, Jocelyn. And thank you, Black women on Broadway. You're some of the finest. You bad, and I love you. Thank you for your energy. Thank you for your voices. Thank you for just your encouraging words when sometimes life is not even going the best for you because of the way that the system is set up, So I just want to say thank you for this day. Thank you for the time. Thank you for the platform. You rock. If you have any further questions, please feel free to reach out at lelanddurond@gmail.com, lelanddurondstudios@gmail.com. Yeah, I'm an acting coach. I love to do it. I'm also a photographer. I do many things, but helping to take you to the next level is something that I'm extremely passionate about. So I hope I was able to do a little bit of that today. Until next time, be blessed.